once I made that move, that mentality of, you know what the most important thing is right now? The most important thing is real estate. And so that's going to be the priority because that's going to set me free from this job that I had.
So we are live and we're actually having Rusty in this other side. Actually, we're on the other side of the US, right? I mean, the eastern side, he's all the way in the west side. So he's in the past, I'm in the future. 3 hours difference. 3 hours difference. And we have Rusty, who is going to share with us some awesome things that he's been doing with real estate and real estate investing, how he's been able to get stuff going with his BRR methods. There's so many R's that I want to say brr, and flip methods in real estate investing, and how he's been able to become a hustler and being able to overpass that hustler mentality to have a self-sufficient business, still growing, still figuring out a lot of things, but it's creating freedom for him and his family.
Mic check. I'm good.
Mic check. Mic check.
You can read about success all day long, but if you don't put in the work, the mindset, execution, and the hustle behind your vision, it just remains a dream.
When everything goes wrong, you have to take all the responsibility.
We uncover what high-level entrepreneurs, business owners do to rise up from hustling daily.
So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances.
The world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
Join me as I share with you actionable tips to help you grow your business, learn skills, and help you level up in your self-development journey.
Your number one spot for business and personal growth is the Online Hustlers Podcast with your host, Esteban Andrade.
Every day I'm hustling.
All right, guys. So today in this special episode, I have Rusty Rueckert. If I'm butchering his name, I'm so sorry about that. But Rusty is a individual. First of all, he is a bioscientist. Right now, he teaches in college right in Arizona. He teaches about bioscientists and some other environmental topics. But he's been in the corporate world. He's been working as a scientist. He's been working as a scientist. And I'm not sure if it's a lab, but we can ask him today. But eventually, he became free and started going full into real estate investing. So he did not start his whole career as a real estate investor like a lot of people do right now, but he knew that there was a route to become free and there was a route to have your full time focused on property acquisition, which is one of his specialties, and be able to create a sustainable life and business for him and his family. So we have Rusty right here in the Online Hustlers Podcast. Let me add him right now. Hey, Rusty, how's everything going, man? I'm super excited to have you here because it's been a long time coming where I have seen your growth and I have seen everything that you've done where you're holding into properties. You're actually taking properties and putting them in your pocket, having crews all across the Arizona and the counties that you work for. And you're doing this through online methods. So tell me, Rusty, tell me about how's everything going with you. Tell us a little bit more about how you became a scientist and then you are now going into real estate investing.
That's a great question. I really did have a really good job before getting into real estate. I was a plant scientist for a large biotech company. I was able to plant corn nurseries and manage those for brand new genes that were inserted into the DNA in different spots. And I was out there analyzing the results of those new genes that we were integrating into the DNA. And so it was a lot of fun. I did that in Hawaii for several years, on Oahu and Maui for two different teams over there. And while I was working for them, I was thinking, okay, if I want to make more money, let's keep getting more formal education. So I got a master's degree in plant genetics so that maybe I can make more money. And that worked okay. It got me a promotion, but really I didn't get much further. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I need more formal education. And so I got an MBA, and then that really didn't do me a lot of good in the position that I was in for the company. And so I was realizing, okay, I'm putting a lot of time and hustling outside of work to make more money, but it was just informal education. And it was kind of a mistake. I'm going to be honest. I spent a lot of hours trying to pass tests and write papers, and that didn't get me very far. And so then I started listening to podcasts and realizing that the market was pretty low in 2013. I realized, okay, I need to start picking up some properties. Obviously, I was in Hawaii, so it's so expensive. I couldn't afford to buy any.
Yeah.
And so the very first one, I only had about 15,000 that I'd saved up for my job. And I wanted to buy a threeplex in Idaho where it was cheaper. So I had to get creative. I didn't have the money to do it. So I refinanced my wife's vehicle to pull another 15,000 out of that to then buy that threeplex that was cash flowing like crazy in Idaho. And then we were able to use that threeplex to then pay off that loan that we got on my wife's car. So I was able to use an asset to pay our bills.
Man, that's awesome because, okay, first you were an islander. Like, what a pleasure to live in an island. But right now you live in Arizona, right?
Right. Yeah.
You live in Pinal County. And this whole time you're realizing that there could be way better things that you could put your time in, such as real estate and acquiring properties. Apart from putting, like you said, so much effort into getting all these certifications, titles, passing tests, passing exams, and then ultimately achieving being paid by rental properties that you're starting to acquire. Like, that is super amazing. And one of the things that I need to share with everyone that is listening here is that you are mostly holding into the properties that you are acquiring. Right now, you're not wholesaling anything or doing a quick flip out of them. Can you tell me?
Right.
Can you tell me like what goes through your head whenever you're actually doing this?
No, honestly, this is a really, really hard thing to do because I know I'm sacrificing profits today for, I guess, longevity and just the ability to pick up one day and just leave and just have my rentals pay all my bills while my family and I'll just go to travel. That's ultimately the goal. And so I am definitely focused 2 to 3 years in the future rather than on today's profits. And so if I can give up 30 grand profit, but keep $500 to $600 per month, passive income, I'll take that passive income any day.
100%. And you're like, people say a lot of the times, hey, yeah, take the profit, especially if you need the money, if you need the cash. But you're not going to lose anything if your end goal is to start getting passive income out of it and not necessarily selling whenever, let's say, it doesn't have enough equity already, but just have that keeping going, and you're not going to have any type of loss until you actually have sold the property. And most of the times, if you do it correctly, if you sell the property or refinance or just end up getting a profit out of that equity, most of the time, if you do it correctly, then you will have some sort of profit out of there. But the rest, what you're currently doing is that you are taking this and thinking ahead, how can I actually take these properties that are giving me $500, $600, $400 into building my wealth? You're thinking about that right now. Is that right? Is that
that's
how
right.
you started everything? Is that how you started your whole concept of real estate investing?
It is. It is. That's how it's been from the beginning. I don't really, to be completely honest, like I don't really care about the vehicle I drive. I live in a pretty modest house that isn't anything special. Honestly, if somebody was to drive down the road, they wouldn't think, oh, that guy owns this many $1 million in real estate. It's just, I just live a pretty normal life. And that really makes it sustainable for me to just continually put profits back into the company to then continue to acquire more assets. Because that's my goal. I want to pick up assets. I don't really care about driving a Lamborghini or anything like that.
Yeah, and I guess we all have different type of what is going to be my happiness all about? What is going to be my freedom all about? Mm-hmm. And for yours is not going to be that. I'm not going to flash or I'm not going to overspend. But ultimately, what is your first idea on being into real estate investing? What was it that you wanted to create? What was your whole goal into this?
So my whole goal, I was working probably about 50, 60 hours a week as a plant scientist and traveling a lot. Actually, I was gone for about 4 months out of the year, managing plant nurseries in other locations, which was part of the job. And I get that. And so I really wanted to be able to not travel as much for work, be around my family and actually, see their soccer games and be available. And I also wanted to just to be able to have a little bit more flexibility. My life was controlled by my job. And once I made that move, that mentality of, what the most important thing is right now? The most important thing is real estate. And so that's going to be the priority because that's going to set me free from this job that I had. And the funny thing is, I'm this plant scientist, and I'm having conversations with people around me, with bosses. But you know what? Like in those last 2 years, if a lead came in, I was gone. Like I would just be like, "Hey, I got an important phone call I got to make." Boom, I'm out. Like it didn't matter, because I understood pretty early on that if I got a lead and I'm paying good money for these leads, I gotta go. Like I gotta make that phone call. It doesn't matter if I'm having a conversation with a coworker in the middle of a project. I'm leaving the building having a conversation with this lead. And then if I need to leave work, just tell my boss, hey, I gotta run. I got an appointment, and I'll go and check out a house. There was a mind shift of I've tried to make it in corporate America, and I've had good results. But I know that if I follow up these leads like a bull, that I'm going to be able to set myself free.
So it's you knew at the beginning that you needed to have a speed to lead, even if you were at work. A lot of people, what happens is they want to get into real estate investing, they want to get into wholesaling or flip, and they understand that they need a lead to acquire property, which is a homeowner that maybe have raised their hand and said, yes, I'm interested in talking to you about selling my property. But a lot of people that they put excuses about not having time during the day, and they wait until the night ends or the day ends, and they try calling these people, and these people don't call back, don't pick up the phone, or they wait until the next day. An opportunity just keeps going and going and going because there's not such urgency about what's the most important thing in this game. In acquisitions, is going to be getting to talk with that seller fast enough, right? And the homeowner fast enough. And you understood that from the very beginning.
I started this game as, the very first house that I bought in Pinal County, where in Arizona, when I was transferred over here, was through a wholesaler. And so I called one of those numbers, and on the side of the road that says, "We buy houses." I was like, okay, I think I could buy a house for pretty cheap from these guys. Let's try this. And I bought my first couple of properties from wholesalers. and there was money to be made, and I did really well on those. I ended up having to sell both of them because I couldn't burr it. Like I couldn't buy it, rehab it, refinance, and repeat because I wasn't going to be able to pull all the cash out. And so I realized that I needed to start doing my own marketing, and I need to get these guys, because if I can save $20,000 to $30,000 on every single deal, because that's what the wholesalers are taking, about that 20 to 30,000. And so if I can make an extra 20 to 30, then my business model is going to work. And so that's when I started doing some mailers and really Facebook. Facebook has been my bread and butter, honestly, from the very beginning.
That's awesome, man. That's where you started going into the online methods.
Yes.
When do you start that?
So the funny thing is the very first wholesaler that I met, and he brought me a deal, and that was the very first deal I bought. He actually approached me after that deal because I kept asking him, hey, I need some more deals. I need to, do you have anything else in this specific area? And he was doing Facebook ads. And then after a while, he got tired of wholesaling. And so then he's like, hey, what if I just run your Facebook ads for you? It's like, that's great. Yeah, let's do that. I'll pay you, whatever this monthly fee is. And he just ran my Facebook ads for me. And that's when the magic started happening. When I was basically spending $2,000 to $3,000 a month, I was able to save myself $30,000 a deal. I mean, that's a no-brainer. You don't have to be a mathematician to figure out those numbers.
That's awesome, man. And was this last year that you started, or when did you start getting into the online methods?
Okay, so my very first online methods was 2019. Very first deal after working with him ended up, midway through 2019.
Okay. And what was that? That was putting your website out there, or just started with Facebook right away?
So I had built a website before using Carrot, and that's fine. Whatever. I mean, it's just some kind of social proof. I should probably put more time into my website and try and get more leads through that. But immediately I had cold calling going and Facebook ads. So, but Facebook ads is it's so good because online is less interruptive than maybe like a cold call or a text message. Like people, they don't really like their lives bothered so much, but if they see an ad online, it feels less intrusive. And so the leads that I get when they're actually clicking on those things are just hands down way better than cold calling and texting. Just the sheer number of leads I had to follow up with through interruptive marketing versus digital was so time consuming. And then once I was getting leads through Facebook, the leads were better. They were fewer, but that's perfect. I don't care if I can get more deals with less leads. It requires less of my time to follow up. That's why I really like digital. Really, really, really like digital.
Love that. One of the things that I want to share here with the audience is that Rusty has been doing online marketing with our team already for a few months. I want to say not too few, probably it's been already 9 months, 8 months, something like that. And we've been dealing with his Facebook lead generation and conversion methods for some time now. And we're ready to start pumping also Google because as you know, and as Rusty has mentioned, Rusty is having conversations with people that have raised their hand. They felt that they had, in quotation marks, control of the situation because they are actually the ones filling out the form. They're the ones that actually reach out to the landing page and saying, this is the address, the specific address of the property, and this is my number. Let's talk about this. And some of this were going to book an appointment with him right away because they want to talk. So you're wanting these people to feel that they're in control of the situation, in quotation marks, and so the conversation will be a much better conversation than being an intrusive cold call.
Absolutely.
And Not mentioning that with cold calling, unfortunately, which works, it's becoming harder and harder with carriers nowadays, where cold calling is just it's just being blocked by carriers, outbound and inbound carriers, and they're not accepting robocalls. The same thing for SMS marketing. Now there's several rules that it could ban you, and it could give you this awful penalties for and fees for doing a cold call for someone that would complain about a call, or someone that would complain about a text message, and they're making it more difficult. That's why we need to be able to be very versatile in the way that we market, and that's the way that we've been trying to help Rusty in the beginning. But here's one thing that I want to understand, Rusty, and I want you to share this with the listeners. So
Okay.
we have also interviewed another scientist in this show a few weeks ago, and he's actually a rocket scientist.
No
And
kidding.
yes, Gerald Norton. You're gonna go and check out that episode with Gerald Norton. And he was a rocket scientist, and he was paid well. He had to travel. He was moved from location to location, very similar to you. But he started getting into the flip and to the buy and hold in real estate and build a successful company. But it's such a coincidence now that we have two real estate investors that are scientists, and there's going to be many people that have maybe created a life around their job, which is going to be an office job or lab job, just like yours, or maybe plant job, where they're in the plant, they're either engineers, they're either a scientist, they're a project manager, whatever. But they know that there's just more things out there, and they started creating a family. They try to go up in that corporate ladder, and they have no idea how to start in real estate. They have no idea how to get the best way to get into real estate, or what it takes to get into real estate investing. And if you can share with us, if you can share with our listeners, what was this that was going through your head, and in order for you to make the transition of truly hustling in the corporate scientist world to becoming and actually figure out the things that need to happen into real estate investing. Can you please share that with us?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it would be a tough transition. One thing that I had going for me was I picked up that threeplex in Idaho in 2013 while I had my job. And so then I saw the cash flow from that, and I used that money to pay off that original loan. And then I showed that to someone I knew that had more money and said, "Hey, I just picked up this threeplex in Idaho. Would you loan me money for a down payment for another one?" And so then the next year I picked up a fourplex for like 115,000 in Idaho. So cheap. I mean, it was just ridiculous because I knew that it worked. And at that point, I was able to, repay him very quickly because I had two assets working for me. And I realized this is it. Like, so if anybody wants to get started, they can start just getting a small multi-unit. It's easy to do that. You can even use an FHA loan if you're willing to live in one of the units. And then you can get in for 3% on a fourplex that's going to be cash flowing and you're going to be living for free. Obviously that is a really good idea and it works if maybe you're single or just married, but I know that there are some wives that are a little bit higher maintenance that wouldn't be willing to live in a multi-unit. But if somebody just wants to get in, that is the easiest bridge. I would say that's the gateway drug into real estate right there.
How do you think that they could acquire that first property? Is it leveraging another wholesaler? Is it leveraging a realtor? How do you think that they could have an easy way to do that?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. If you're working full time and you don't have all the time and the know-how to market, then yeah, I mean, I've got a realtor that I work with now, and she knows that I'm a buyer. So she brings me deals. I mean, she knows that if there's a house that has bed bugs or may not be very good to show people, then she just brings it to me, and she knows I'm going to buy it. And so I do. And so I do think you can still get deals from real estate agents. Typically, it's nice to know before they go on the MLS, and that really comes down to relationships. The other one, wholesaling is, call those numbers. Like if you want to get a property relatively cheap that may not need a full rehab, getting it with a wholesaler is not a bad idea. That's how it all started for me, and that required a lot less time and energy on my part to follow up with leads. But once you get into the game, I think that the understanding will come pretty quick that the real deals come when you're the one, or somebody that you're paying is the one following up with leads and saving you those wholesale fees.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people actually, they get into the real estate investing world, into the investing side, by maybe holding into a property or doing a house hack, right? Like a duplex, triplex, they get one and they start renting the other unit. But based on your experience and because right now, how many properties, how many units do you currently have?
So I just tabulated before. So I have I've been so lucky. I've picked up about 27 properties for 36 units. And
that's awesome.
I know it's been the thing is, this has not been easy. Like, I don't want anyone to think that real estate is a get rich quick program. It is so much work. Like I've only been out of my job for about a year and a few months. And I was working full time, 50, 60 hours a week. I was still finishing up school for my MBA. And I was at that time managing 2 rehabs, with people. And of course, I managed it the worst way possible because I didn't get really good workers. I just got cheap workers. And I honestly, there was nights where I was only sleeping like 4 hours a night and working weekends. I never saw my family, but I knew that it was going to be the vehicle. And so you just like, I love that you're calling your podcast the Hustlers Podcast, because that's what it takes. It takes hustle. It takes grind. And I would say it almost takes obsession. Like, I am obsessed with real estate. I don't even talk about, I'm a plant scientist. I rarely talk about agriculture. I rarely talk about plants or biology or any of that kind of stuff, but I'm always talking real estate with almost everybody. And that obsession, I think, really fuels that hustle and the ability to just do what it takes to hustle.
I love that, man. So one of the things that I am understanding here is that you started acquiring properties while you were at the job. You started getting crews, which are people that are needed in order to do these rehab jobs, repairs, whatever that is, right? And let's backtrack a little bit into that, okay? So at the beginning, you started acquiring this property in Hawaii. That got you in feet wet, right? And you started acquiring way more properties while you were in the job. Okay, now you're in Arizona. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. I know that this requires a lot of work, hustle, and mindset, because it's something that it's never ending while you are building and stacking and into these assets for yourself to build wealth. But once you have the game on point, it becomes better. It becomes you'll have more time to enjoy at any time without having a boss or having a set schedule with your kids, whether you're taking them to school, whether you're enjoying time with them, playing them, or whether you're learning something new, assisting with another set of real estate investing friends, mastermind, or enjoying time with your wife. So eventually you are either there now or you're getting to the point that it's like completing autopilot. However, I'm pretty sure from everything that you have grinded so hard, hustling, all right, in this real estate investment world, you have learned that there could be a piece that you could have connected that would have accelerated that exit of your job, right? What do you think that if you were to start your first year in real estate investing while still holding a job, you could have for sure 100% done it better and made it faster?
Yeah, there are a couple pieces that, I don't know if you're noticing with my personality, but I am a little bit of a control freak. And so it's hard for me to let go of a lot of the pieces. Those first 2 rehabs, I was there laying flooring with these other guys that I had hired. And I was, on top of the roof, and I was looking at plumbing with people. And I was there all the time doing a lot of the work. And so if you're going to do what I'm doing, where I'm managing rehabs myself, I'd hire somebody competent. That's what it comes down to. Like, you really do need to find rock stars and people that are competent in what they do, because it's just going to reduce stress level. And here I am 3 years later, and I'm trying to work smarter now. And so I've developed a relationship with a unlicensed contractor. I know that that's like a scary word. Oh, he's unlicensed, but he does quality work at a good price. And it's a win for him and it's a win for me. And I'll bring him a full gut rehab that he needs to do. And okay. Now, you guys, finding a contractor is not easy. I've had a couple nightmare stories of guys that are like, okay, I need this much money and we'll get started this weekend. And then I'll stop by the property a week later and they have not even been there. Another week goes by. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I just lose $10,000 to this contractor? And, because it's rough. And so luckily I've found one that I just basically did a trial run with. I was basically having him doing a tryouts. And so now he's just about done with his first rehab, and it is beautiful, and it was a good price, and it was fast, and his guys are good. And so I'm actually going to have him start managing 2 crews instead of just one, so that we can rehab faster, get people into those rentals quicker, and I can refinance faster. And so if I would have put my effort has always been finding deals, which is exactly where it needed to be the whole time. Like, finding deals is the most important thing. If you can find the deal, everything else follows. You could sell the contract, you could rehab it and flip it, or you could try and burr it. But now I'm working on efficiency of the business. And so if I would have spent more time in the beginning finding rock stars that could just manage rehabs for me, oh my gosh, if I would have done that 2 years ago, I'd be so much further ahead of the game. But I was just a penny pincher, and I thought, oh, I could do it myself. I can just hire 2 guys that I've met over time that are kind of handymen, and they do an okay job, but they always got like, hey, and they need to get paid every day or every week. And they're just, I don't know, they're not quick. They don't do as good of a job. And so I like finding rock stars to build onto my team. That's the acceleration. I feel like that's the rocket fuel. And so now that I've got that, and now that I'm getting a property manager, rockstar property manager, my time's freed up. So now I can spend more money on marketing to get more deals. And yeah, if that's really what it is. If I would have surrounded myself with real rock stars that I was willing to pay for early on, and that actually includes you as well. Like, I had a good marketing guy. He was fine. He was hit and miss. But ever since I signed on with Hessel Media, it's been easy and predictable. I have a predictable deal flow. And so I know for a fact that if I throw a little bit more money into marketing with you guys, I know that I'm going to be able to grow it. And so in a couple months, once I have my rehab piece all in order, and I got my rock star there, and I got my rock star in the property management position, yeah, I'm gonna accelerate my marketing and just go hard there until I can find my rock star that's going to take over for me in the lead follow up and acquisition side.
That's amazing, man. So you have covered here and building a system that you are finding the right people in the right seats, which is ultimately what every single business will. That's how every single business will definitely scale. And a lot of people, including me, man, we are so scared, and we are so like you said, the penny word that you mentioned. But we are so like trying to hold into our profits. We're so like trying to hold into this money that we have made, that we don't realize that in order for us to grow and get less stress and really have a more efficient and effective business, we have to let go some of that money, right? We cannot see it. We cannot see it there in our bank account. What is it gonna do if you're long term into this? If you're thinking long term into your life, into your business, what is that profit going to do now into maybe getting this cheap ass contractor? Okay, maybe getting this person that says that, yeah, I'm gonna get it like in a half of the price, or 70%. I'll get it done, but then you end up getting that person in the wrong seat, because what they are is really, they're just talkers. They just talk. They know how to talk, but don't do. Then you're hiring the wrong person in the wrong seat, and that applies a lot with the contractor job, right? So with the contractor that you found, what was your determining factor to even give him a chance, like a trial? Hey, I've been having these cheap ass contractors, this cheap work, this things that are causing me a pain. I still have to be on top of it. I still have to be in the business, like in there. And now I have found someone like a contractor. What did you look into? Maybe his credibility, into his background. What did you find that actually gave you the the green light?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, that's a really good question. I did get he and I actually sat down for about an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, just talking about his past experiences. He did show me some pictures. Obviously, you can fabricate pictures and make it look better than it actually looks in real life. But you know what? To be completely honest, I feel like I fell into him. I have talked to other contractors so many times, others, and exactly what you're saying, they're just talkers. Like I feel like a lot of people, they really do just talk their way through things and around. And he just came off as, hey, I just want fair. And it was just kind of interesting just to realize, he was busy. He had a lot on his plate. So that's always a good sign. And so I had to wait a whole month before he could even start on a project. And I was fine, because the conversations we were having and the work that he was doing, and just the way he talked about the work he was doing, you could tell that he really cared about the end product and the way it looked. And then just being able to have enough money for him to go home and be happy with his family. It was definitely a different conversation that I've ever had, because I've taken a bunch of contractors out to lunch, and I feel like there's always been red flags of, oh, you know what? My biggest challenge is with my guys is, getting them to show up to work on time, or finding good people to work for me, and that kind of thing. And like, whenever I'm like, okay, well, your job is managing people. So if that's your biggest problem, then that's going to be my biggest problem, because you're not going to be able to get the work done. But he has a team that's been working for him for years. And so there was just some really good stability with him. And so I only contracted him to lay tile. That was it, just the tile. And then once he did that, I was like, okay, all right, this looks really good. He got it done fast. Hey, can you give me 20 more days? That's what I asked him afterwards. Can you give me 20 more days to work on some drywall, these things and these things and these things? He's like, yeah, okay, I'll give you 20 more days. And so it's nice that he allowed me just to have just a little taste test, instead of, hey, here's the whole project I want to give to you. And that 20 more days has become 60 more days. And then we're and then 90 more days. And so now it's, he's becoming my guy. I wish I had like the secret formula. I wish I had, what it was, but he just came off differently in conversation than I was used to. And it really made an impact. So I gave him a try. It was nice. It was really, really nice.
What attributes does this person have? Is this a younger, older individual? What type of attributes or just characteristics that this business and this person has that you say, yeah, that's a very good sign?
Okay. Yeah, he never talked about problems with his employees, so it was very obvious that his guys that had been working with him for years were happy working for him. That's huge, because I actually haven't seen that in any of the other contractors that I've used, and so that was a really big deal. The one where he's just like, hey, I'm not trying to rip people off. I'm not trying to be rich. I just want, just kind of a fair deal, and he didn't require, like, he required very little money up front. And so the risk was very, very low to try this guy out. He did talk about his family. I actually met his son before he was working for me. We saw the project, and he had a lot of confidence that he could make it beautiful. He saw the vision that I saw, and he was excited about that. And so that it was almost like he and I became partners just in one day. Even though I'm just paying him as a contractor, but it felt more like a partnership from day one.
Man, that is one of the best things to actually feel, is that someone is as invested in the things that you are working on as you, and it's hard to find those individuals. But it's definitely whenever you find these people that show the true investment, the true passion about the work, and they don't just treat it as I just got another job, but they're actually making sure that they put all in and are truly obsessed with their clients. It is life changing, right? Mm-hmm. And I've always talked about this. This is one of the core values of our company, and it's obsessed with clients. All right, so we're obsessed with the client, but we're also obsessed with our own team members. We want to over deliver, and we want to always grow. And that is one of the biggest things that we have taught our own employees, our team members, and kind of like to just engrave that in their head, obsessed with clients and obsessed with employees, because you are super passionate about this, right? So you need to have a match with someone.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You're right. Honestly, I'll get an email every now and then from Facebook saying, hey, your ad's been canceled, because, I know that Facebook this has been a challenging year for anybody that's doing Facebook ads. There's been so many new regulations and new just rules that are coming out with. They're getting really sensitive. And whenever I see an email from Facebook saying, hey, your ad's canceled, you know what? I don't even worry about it, because I know that in the next day or two, that ad's, hey, your new ad's up. I'll get another text message. Hey, here's your new ads has been approved and is running. And that's one thing you exactly talk about, like having a team member that cares as much as you do about the business. Because I know that Esteban wants to make sure that 100% of my ads are running all the time, even in a very difficult circumstance. I never get any excuses from you guys. It's just like, I just see results and I see good work. And that's huge. Just and honestly, I feel like since we've joined in January, it's been a partnership as well. I mean, I've had the mentor just kind of follow up with me to make sure make sure that I'm doing all the things I need to be doing, but also just the fact that they care so much. They are obsessed with keeping my Facebook's ads running and just keeping that deal flow. They really do. It's really nice.
That's awesome. Thank you so much in behalf of the whole team. Now, one of your biggest success is that you've been able to create this many properties that are under your arm and your family's arm, so that they're paying you passive income. And I'm pretty sure that has allowed you to do other things that you call it successful. And a lot of people maybe have different different type of mentality or concept of what success has been. But has this allowed to you being able to truly have this amount of properties, and what has really allowed to you and unlocked by just being part of this game?
Yeah, I gotta admit, I would say that family relationships have been impacted the most. Not having to go into my job, working those 50, 60 hours a week. I play pickleball. I don't know if you've ever heard of pickleball. It's pretty big in Florida because there's a lot of retirees there. But my wife and I, we play very, very competitive pickleball together. And that's only been available for us because I am not working a 9-to-5 job. And so she and I are out there playing pickleball in the mornings and in the evenings. And it's fine because I'm home a lot more. I work from home, and that really does help our relationship. With me being gone as much as I was and working and obsessed with everything else with the full-time job. Cultivating family relationships was not happening. There was a very big imbalance in my life. And so it's enabled me to have better family relationships, but also to think bigger and to think more like higher level of, okay, I need to be a leader now, and I need to bring on rock stars, and I need to trust other people with pieces of the business and not just run it myself, because I know that they'll probably do a better job rather than me probably at 65%, just because I'm stretched so thin. And that's been a huge mindset shift for me, is being able to bring other people in to basically become my partners. And that's just by, paying them well. So that's, those are the two biggest things that's resulted from that.
I absolutely love that, man. And one of the things that, of course, that you just mentioned is that you've had to have mindset shifts, and you've had the struggles, and I'm pretty sure it comes with a lot of up and downs, especially when you're putting so much time into things and is making yourself so thin that eventually it can play with your mind, your health, your relationships around it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to achieve what you have right now, but are going through these struggles while still holding the job and can't keep going. What do you think that older Rusty could tell younger Rusty whenever these things are happening? What do you tell them? Like, what would you tell younger Rusty that is a struggling Rusty, like feeling that things are going bad, to just keep going and of course make sure you give a solid actionable advice to?
Okay. Yeah, honestly, I know that this is probably one of the most common answers to this question is just consistency. Honestly, if being consistent, just like I set and setting standards for yourself, honestly, because whenever I get leads, like I'm on it. Like there was a lead that came in March, in June. And it came in at 9:30 at night. And so there's a lot of easy to be like, okay, I'm going to justify, I'll call them tomorrow because it's 9:30 at night. But I jumped on, I saw that they didn't respond to any text messages, and I just called them at 9:30 at night because they just filled out that online thing. Because I had set that standard for myself saying, when that lead comes in, I'm calling them. And then if it's after 10 o'clock, I'll start texting with them. And people are late night texters. It's weird. So I'm like, I found myself texting at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night with people that are looking to sell their houses. And so if you just set that standard of, I'm going to follow up on these leads right now, as soon as they come in every single time, there's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts about it. You're going to be successful. Like you got to just set those standards of, okay, and I'm going to keep my guys accountable to really good work. And they need to, if you just set standards and you just hold yourself to it and other people around you, that's the actionable advice that I would have, honestly.
Man, thank you so much for sharing that. And one of the main reasons why you're here, man, is because you're one of the most consistent people that have worked with us, that are consistently, of course, doing deals. That's for sure. But it's creating a business out of something that a lot of our clients are not, which is the BRRRR method. and and a lot of other people are just wholesalers and are so afraid into holding into properties and doing the method that you have, right? It's
Right.
because it's hard. It's a lot of people going to holding a property, or just flipping a property, just doing rehabs, and it's like their time now is, they're so consumed by it, and it's bringing so much frustration about many different things that they don't know, that they would go back to the wholesale game, right? They will just continue doing the wholesale game. So it's very great to see that someone is doing the real estate investing side consistently,
Yeah.
building systems around it, and having teams. And that's why I wanted to bring you in here, man. It's a great thing as well to have someone to speak greatly about coming in from a scientist job and going full into real estate investing. And it's your first year and a half where you're outside of that job, right?
Right.
What are your next steps, man? What do you think are your next steps coming in?
That's a great question, because my vision, I just want to kind of touch on what you're saying. It's hard managing rehabs. There's always things that have been overlooked. There's always problems that we didn't know were going to be there. And I've really found that I need to make sure that that I need to make sure there's enough money in the budget, to take care of those unknowns. That's always there. And it is very stressful to do what we're doing. But the thing is that, like, it's worth it. If I can acquire, $10 million of real estate in the next 3 years, which is my goal, like, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of hard work, and that's fine. It's worth it to me. For the future, my whole goal is to create a deal finding machine now. So now that I've got the rehab part done and the property manager part done, I need to have a little deal finding machine that's gonna have an acquisition manager in there finding the deals. And honestly, I think that I'm gonna probably find too many deals. I know I will, to be able to keep them all like I have been. And so I'm probably going to need to start working on wholesaling, if maybe about half of them, and keeping about half of them, and just following that model, just because then I can, exactly what you're saying, what you were saying earlier, like, just cherry pick the best ones that I know are going to be really great rentals. And that's the next step, is just creating a machine that I can hire myself out of and not have to be the one texting at 10:30 at night, or making those phone calls at 9:30 at night, or, jumping out of a pickleball game because I got to call somebody like right away, and so I want to set myself free from the company, but still, but I got to build a team of rock stars. That's what it comes down to.
And look, that Rusty is not letting himself be stopped by anything, because if you guys don't know, Phoenix is like the hub of like this big coaches and big real estate investing entrepreneurs that have courses, that have mastermind programs, that are having multi-million dollar companies from real estate investing. And there is enough competition, but Rusty is just going at it. He just has a mission, he has a vision, and he's building those systems around the rehab model. And now it's going to become a wholesaler, part-time wholesaler as well.
No, you're right. It is extremely competitive out here. It is. It's so crazy how many people are going to those all-in events, and there is just every single week I see new "We Buy Houses" signs on almost every corner, even in some of the smaller towns. I see advertisements on TV for several different wholesale companies. It is everywhere I look, I see just people trying to find deals. But I don't want people to have that mentality of, oh, it's too saturated. There's too many people. If you get the right pieces in place, if you get the right marketing, you're going to find deals. There's enough to go around. There's an abundance. And I don't want people to feel like there's not enough to go around, because there really is.
Guys, and as you know, us, the team in Hustle Media, we hustle for our clients. We hustle for the next marketing acquisition machine. We believe that online marketing is a great way that is still underutilized from a lot of people, such as Facebook, Google, and YouTube advertising, even ranking up on Google Maps to making sure that you appear online. So that's why I will have this mission for our company. And our mission is to help 2,000 real estate investors shift the way that they're doing business and shift the way that they actually scale their business through online acquisitions, but also through systems and processes that are being held by automation, and also awesome sales training and skill sets. So if you guys know about this, then you guys are part of Hustle Media, then that's great. We're always trying to over deliver for you. If not, you can reach out to us. You can always see Rusty's videos, this podcast, learn a lot from what he has created so far, and become an online hustler. I want you to become an online hustler in the real estate investing world, and eventually create that hustle and shift that hustle into a profitable business that is systemized and that is set for great things to happen in your life, and set you free from a lot of the things that are currently sending you unfree, such as a job, such as consistently trying to get out of that mental state. So it all comes with the hustle. It all comes with the grind. And we have learned today that Rusty has done that very well as a scientist. And it is not rocket scientist to figure that out. It's not rocket science. Rusty, I appreciate you so much. Again, subscribe to this podcast. We are available in all channels: Spotify, Amazon Podcast, iTunes Podcast, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like to get more content. And hey, if you ever want to hustle it out in the online marketing world for real estate investing, you know that you can contact us at hustlemedia.com. And I'm pretty sure Rusty will put a good word for it. So I love having Rusty in here. I love having a hustler, someone that is consistent and someone that is building great things for his vision. Thank you so much, Rusty. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Esteban. Take care, guys.